from our incident the other day. Letting it warm up right now, and then we're gonna get right into it. It's a little bit cooler out today, which I was kind of hoping it would stay warm like it has been, but such is what we have. So let it warm up, and then we will do some rips and see where we end up. So no more 50 pounds of boost, that's for sure. Figure out this internet issue. Okay, that was easy. That was incredibly easy. Okay, so it made 505 horsepower at 6,700 RPM. You can see our torque started dying off really quickly. It hit a peak of 409 foot-pounds. But if we look at our data log, this line right here is our timing, and this line right here is our boost. You can see the boost was steadily rising ever so slightly from 37 to about 42 PSI, which is how I had the boost control strategy working. We were actually running pretty lean. It was trying to add fuel, but I had that thing maxed out at 10%. But the timing, you'll notice, barely ramped up. So we got the full boost, which is when you want to start ramping back up the timing. And I only had it adding in 1.5 degrees over that distance, which is nothing, which is probably why our torque fell off the way it did, because if you notice, the heavy drop off is from like 65 to 77, and if we go from 65 to 77, we're only talking about 1 degree of ignition timing, and that was only 14 at its highest. And you know, in our drag car we run 18, 19 degrees on this much ethanol. Now mind you, that is still a very powerful graph. We got heaps of power from 5,000 RPM to 8,000 RPM. And again, this could rev out more, but with it falling off like that, it's really not worth it. And we're kind of fighting the cam as well a little bit in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of timing in it. We're going to adjust the fuel. We're going to let the car cool down for a couple minutes, and then we'll do it again and see if we can get that torque to hang out a little bit longer. I might even slope the boost down a touch to kind of get rid of this bump here and try to level us off so that it's a lot smoother of acceleration. But the area under the curve in this is absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to save this, and then I'm actually going to load up a factory Juke so you guys can kind of see the difference. We have 3 graphs here. This set of lines right here is a factory Juke. This right here is a 16G Juke, and then this is where we're at right here. Now obviously their turbos are smaller, so until about 4,000 RPM they're going to have this car, which when you're racing after first gear, you're never at 4,000 RPM. On a stock Juke, you're going to be in this like 5,000 to 6,500 range. So if we go to power by speed, which I would have to reload everything, which I really don't feel like doing. And we can just use this as a reference. So from 60 to 70, if you started at 3,000 RPM, you would have this thing. So like the low end torque for when it comes to a fast car really just doesn't matter in these circumstances. As you can see, at like 4,500 RPM, this thing is just gonna take off. So we are more than double the factory torque. So I could leave it like this and we'd be fine, but I really want to level that off a little bit if I can. If I can't, then whatever. We're not even going to be able to take advantage of the fact that I could rev this thing out even more if I can't get the torque to stay back up, which, you know, is what it is. But, you know, peak torque at 6,300 RPM on a turbo this size is pretty goddamn good. And you still got plenty of usable torque up here. And I'll be honest, most people will get too scared to stay in it up to here in this shifting anyway. So if you shift at 6,300, you're going to end up about here. So you're at, 300 foot-pounds. So even if you short shift it at like the factory rev limiter, this thing is still going to be a monster. So make a couple changes, let it cool down, then we'll give it another go. All right, let's look at some stuff. So it did 523 horsepower, which was just adding 2 degrees of timing, and 16 foot-pounds of torque. But it still wanted a lot more fuel. And I'm like, why is it not getting any more fuel? Like, that's really weird. And then I looked at the fuel pressure. And you can see the fuel pressure rises and then falls. And then if we look at our injector duty cycle, which I haven't been paying attention to because these injectors are huge. Yeah, they're completely overmaxed. So these injectors are just hanging open. So this thing's out of fuel pump. It's completely out of fuel pump. I just got off the phone with the owner, and he doesn't want to do the fuel pump because the car's already making way more power than he needs. So what we're going to do is this Tune 3, we're going to put it aside. He's not going to use it. At the end of that pull, we were at 17 degrees of timing, so there's even more room. This thing would easily make 600 horsepower if it had the fuel pump. It has the injectors. 2200cc injectors are more than enough to make more than that. Our drag car runs that, and that car's going to be able to make 7-ish hundred horsepower as soon as we get a clutch in it. But yeah, we're gonna call it there. So I'm gonna pull it off the dyno, make sure the drivability on the ethanol is good, and then he's gonna come in about 2 weeks. We're gonna spend the day driving it around, make sure it's the way he wants it, and then this one's leaving. So that was fun.